Hi, friends, and welcome to the podcast. I am so excited to welcome our incredible guest, Felicia Palanca from On Point. Felicia, it is so great to have you here. Thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks, Amanda. It's so exciting to be here with you always.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
lovely to chat to you. Now, I read out your bio at the beginning of the podcast, and you have had the most incredible career in dance. So I'd love to hear about where it all started for you. Did you start dancing really young? Were you 2? Were you 3? Tell me about the start of it.
Actually, it's very interesting, very young. So I was only 3.5, going to your
Wow.
normal kinder with all your friends. And actually, what piqued my interest was these little girls going up and down the stairs in these cute little pink outfits with their little bag of jelly beans. Honestly, I think it was the jelly beans before the cookies that I was excited about. And I was like, Mum, there's these little kids going upstairs, with the jelly bean. She's like, "We'll follow them up. We'll follow them up after, after class, after school." So we went across and I had a look, and then I heard the music and I saw them dancing, and I was like, "Okay, it's not just the jelly beans." So I joined in really fast, but it was all about the jelly beans to begin with. And then I obviously was very excited to get into a studio. I felt an extreme sort of feeling of drawn that I was meant to go inside that studio. I did not know that I
Oh,
was going to be a ballerina from that point, of course not.
of
But it
course, and
started
not at 3.5.
not at all.
That is
But I did start early.
so cute. Yeah, super cute. So did you have, obviously you've got on to form a great career. Was it a big, amazing studio? What was the studio like?
No, so it was a tiny studio, it was your suburban little kinder. And I was so lucky because that teacher, Christine Keith is her name, still very famous, was a principal with the Royal Ballet. So she ended up,
Oh, wow.
picking me out of the crowd, but I just happened upon it just because of the kinder. But obviously, she had an integral part of, showing me the next steps, that I take after that. So I just had fun and enjoyed my ballet there. But everywhere she went, she took me with her. So to the next studio. And I think she was forging the beginning of her career in Australia again after dancing. So she took me with her. And so I went to multiple dance schools before I became very strongly interested in being a dancer. But yeah, absolutely was led by an amazing teacher.
How amazing to stumble across. That must have been fate for you to have, met her at 3.5. Such an
Oh my
incredibly strong teacher and obviously former dancer as well.
Absolutely. And also, you don't know, at that age, you're not thinking that. She just made the
Of
class really
course.
fun. I think that's what I say to people all the time, if they're trying to find their right dance school. I'm like, usually you just have to make it really fun for a long time. Because for me, I felt like this woman was like running around and dancing like a fairy, and everything was really fun and nothing was strict. And then she moved me to a more strict school as I felt I needed it, that path. And she saw that I liked that. But not every child is going to like that extreme discipline. Definitely not my daughter, that's for sure.
And definitely no one at 3.5, right?
No,
Like that's
no,
never that for 3.5. That's
absolutely. Yeah.
amazing. So you
Yeah.
danced with her until, how old were you when you went into full time? Did you
Full
go into
time.
the Australian Ballet School?
Yeah, so it actually she actually started coaching at McDonald College. So I actually
Okay.
moved schools as well. And I actually spent a year at Skeggs and at, a private school in Sydney. And it was so hard to do my dancing at the same time. You
Yeah.
come out of the normal regular school and you go into this school that's very strict and academic. And I knew in like the first 3 months of that I didn't like it. But I was going to McDonald College just after schools. But
Yes.
then I changed completely into going to McDonald College for the 2 years before I auditioned to the Australian Ballet School. So then I got an amazing amount of new coaches there, Sian Stokes, Alan Cross, Josephine Jason. So I had all of them, and Christine took me across all the way from kinder to McDonald
Oh,
College. So
wow. That's so
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Now, you obviously went into the Australian Ballet School, went into the Australian Ballet after that, and you've had incredible career highlights. You were the youngest principal at Australian Ballet, is that correct?
Yes, one of the youngest for sure,
Amazing.
and
One of the
definitely one of the
youngest.
first, the youngest for sure, the youngest company member. at
Oh,
17.
amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing, amazing. And then Munich Ballet. So, what were some of your highlights of your professional career? Like, there've got to be so many, but run us through a
So
couple
hard
of
to
those
say.
highlights.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Australian Ballet for me was like obviously a family, and progressing through the ranks and working with Maina Gilbert as a director, I would say that was a huge highlight. Again, she nurtured me, and I worked hard. So none of this is just fate. Obviously, I had to work really hard, but she was an
Absolutely.
incredible director for me, and she brought me all the way through the ranks. And then I had Ross Stratton and then David McAllister and then went to Munich Ballet. So I guess I'd say the highlight in the Australian Ballet was dancing in Shanghai. I was about to do my favourite role in the upcoming season. So I hadn't practiced the role yet, but I had been
Okay.
practicing that role in my lounge room for like since I was like 6 or 7 years old. So Lisa
As you
came
do.
on stage as a volunteer, broke her ankle, not broke, but rolled her ankle.
Oh, no.
And as soon as she got on stage, and I was about to do street dancer, so not kitchery. And Nicole Rhodes was the understudy, but she was too far away to start because, the roll gets turned off at 7 and the act had already started. So I had to run on stage and do the first act without a rehearsal. That would
Wow.
be sort of like a career highlight. Yeah, an extreme
Under
one, but
pressure. That's
yeah,
amazing. That's got
yeah,
to have been just such an amazing moment if it was something you always dreamed of doing, to just be
always,
thrown in
always.
there under
Yeah,
pressure
yeah.
in such I'm sure everyone, frantic backstage, all of that
Oh
going
my gosh,
on.
you
That would have been
taking the
amazing.
dress off, the dress not fitting me. Like I actually physically remember them pulling the dress on and me thinking to myself, do I know First Act? Because First Act is not like the most famous act out of all three of
Yep.
them. If I was going to choose an act, I would have chose Third Act. And also it's like a preparing for a marathon, so I didn't know if I was going to be fit enough in my mind, but obviously I was. But the most exciting thing about it was that because there was only two of us then to do the rest of the tour, Nicole
Yes.
basically said to the director, "Let Felicia do one, I'll do the next." And so I had a day and a half to learn the whole ballet, and I got to do the entire ballet with her. So her one night, me the next night, and I got promoted
Amazing.
on stage in Shanghai. So that's probably my career highlight with Australian Ballet, but there was many,
That's
obviously.
amazing. What a moment to be
Yeah,
promoted on stage as well. Like that
yeah.
must have just been so beautiful. And so you spent many years with the Australian Ballet, and then decided to go to Munich Ballet as well.
Yes, so I guess we always had amazing choreographers coming in, and coaching us, and obviously we also went. I went on like multiple scholarships, but I'd always wanted at the end of my career or during my career to dance with like a big European company and see what it was like. It was pretty an
Yep.
incredible experience, and I'm glad I did it. But nothing's the same as home. But being a principal there was like a complete difference from where we are. Like you didn't know anyone, so the life
Yes.
part of it was much harder. But the going on stage with this incredible giant orchestra, everything seemed like it was on steroids at Munich Ballet. So I'm
Yeah.
glad I did it, absolutely, for sure. But I loved dancing with Australian Ballet the most.
Yeah, most definitely. And there's no place like home, right?
No,
Especially when we're so lucky to live in such an amazing
right.
country and all of those things. So, after you retired from professional dancing, you've had some incredible businesses, been an incredible entrepreneur. You've been a mom and, well, still are a mom and doing all those things and
Forever.
juggling all the things as we do. And so you founded Flow Dancewear and now On Point. You've also been involved in Block previously as well. So have all of your future businesses, have they all been centered around dance? It's
Always.
just fully,
Always.
yeah, fully in the
Always.
dance world.
And it's interesting because everyone always asks me, and I'm not sure if they asked you as well, why were you a teacher? Why didn't you teach? And that straight away. I thought about it so many
Yeah.
times, and in the ballet, you get opportunities to coach people, and I loved coaching. If it was a role that I'd already done, but I had never been drawn to like teaching someone from scratch how to dance. I'm always so impressed by the teachers, how they can do it from the start. Like I find obviously it's much easier if they're already at a level, but if I didn't have that, that junior coaching that took me all the way out, that's got a different mindset to what I had. Mine was very focused on, I liked the construction of things. So, even the costume department, when they were creating tutus on me, you'd
Yeah.
find me there. Like I would be there watching them doing the
Ah,
pattern making. And so
hence the evolution of flow, right?
yeah, absolutely. And also working for Block, doing some consulting for them straight up after retiring. I got an amazing sort of array of experience with that. And I
Yeah.
loved working with the dancers again. So for me to come back to Australia, and have the children, I knew that I had to do something from home. I didn't realize I was going to make it such a big business that I did, but
Yes.
I did know I wanted to do something with the things that I had, and I really wanted
Yep.
to show, give the dance back to, give dance what they've given me. I don't know how to explain that well. I don't know if you
Yeah.
re-record that, but as in, to be honest, it's like I want to give
No.
back. I want to give back what dance did for me, which they gave
Oh,
me everything.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's so amazing. And I think, so many of us, me included, everyone listening to this podcast, we just love the world of dance. It's our heart and soul. And obviously, we're all trying to forge careers and now also have financial gain and
Of course.
life gain, all
Yeah,
of
we
those
need
things.
both.
We
We
need
need all of it.
absolutely. We all need to work, but
Yes.
we also want to give back to that incredible community
Yeah.
that has given us so much, which is incredible, right? Like
Yes.
it's and that's it's so interesting talking about that. You said that you were always drawn to the costume department. It's so funny because, as for me, when I was growing up dancing, I never had any intention of being a dancer, even though I
Oh,
was still training with those people and
oh
all of
wow.
that.
Okay.
It's like, right? Like
You
there's
know.
something in you
You
that
must be.
knows.
You must know. Yeah.
Yeah, I only ever wanted to be a studio owner. That's all I wanted to
Oh
do, even though
wow.
I was going and, training, because at the time that's all that you did was train to become a professional dancer. I only ever wanted to own a studio. That's all I ever dreamed of. It's so funny that we
Wow.
just all must know those things somewhere.
Well, I don't think for sure I didn't know that I was going to do costume design. I didn't even
No.
get into the costume designing as well. So I think it's impressive that you knew about that. I knew I wanted to be in the dance world, but the moment that I did do the transition, so I started
Yep.
working with the dance clothes and the type of dance, I realized it was like another creative part of my brain that I hadn't used before, for one. And also,
Yes.
I realized how not accessible it is and how
Yep.
expensive it was. That was a major one for me. Why do department stores not have clothing for dance? I mean, what is it? 4 out of 5 girls for sure will dance at some point,
Yep.
in their lives. How is there not a place that you can buy it? Why do you have to like get to all the way to like 4 or 5 suburbs away, and there might be one, or some people are catching buses in from, the country to come to the shops. So
Absolutely.
I genuinely thought, okay, this is what I'd like to do. I would like to make it more accessible, try and make it well priced, and get the children into something that felt good and the parents liked, even on their skin, the
Yes.
fabric. So yeah, that was kind of the
Yeah.
beginning of flow, was that, and even having my daughter, wearing that kind of soft fabric and wanting their skin to be put. That was sort of the prompt for the beginning of flow, for sure.
Oh, I love that. And, Flo's been such an incredible brand,
Thank
stocked in
you.
incredible stockists, which is so impressive. So,
Oh, thank you so much.
have you always had that entrepreneurial spirit? Is that something you've had from a young age, or is it something you've had to learn?
I absolutely had no idea I had it. But you know what I
Mm.
have realized now is that I think that I'm a bit of an inventor. So mum said
Yes.
I would always sit in front of the TV. If I ever got to sit in front of the TV, I was
Yep.
sewing shoes, I was drawing something, I was doing like 3 different things at once, always
Yes.
making things. So that probably was the beginning of it. And then obviously exposure to like the dance shoes and how it was created, and then those costume departments. I think that I'm more like that. I'm a bit of an inventor, and then
Yes.
I love a challenge. So if someone says
Yes.
no to me, usually that means yes to me, and so then
Okay.
I'm going to try and make that. As far as what I know that's going to be good for the dance world or for the dancers. So I for sure didn't know I was going to be an entrepreneur, but I do believe that I was always really creative, and
Yes.
I also ask a lot of questions. So I
Mm.
have people around me and my friends that inspire me, and I've always said, if I don't know something, I will ask. Someone that's at the top of their game, and I usually get a great, an answer, and I'll try and work towards that. So I think asking questions has got me to where I am.
That's amazing because, look, that's no different to being a professional dancer or a student dancer for that matter as well, right?
Yes.
Like it's that tenacity, that
Yeah.
willing to ask for help when you need it, do a little bit of extra training, go and seek somebody out, ask for that extra guidance. All of those things would have made you a great dancer, but now a great entrepreneur. It's the same thing, asking for help when you need
That's
it,
what I
right?
mean, asking for help. And I think too, because I've thought about this, I'm an only child. And so I probably would
Yep.
have had to ask a lot of questions all the time because
Mm,
both of my parents were working. So for sure, they would take me to whenever the things they could. But otherwise, I'd have to figure out how to get to these competitions and how to do these things myself. And then, as being a
mm,
dancer, you have to do the same thing to get anywhere. You have to ask questions. You have to keep working at it. So I think there's a sort of a
mm.
line there with dancers that they have this very good working ethic, but then there's like the next level where they are also very able to learn, like, continually keep learning.
Absolutely. And, you know, like I love that you're talking about this because Beck and I talk about this all the time that it's so important to keep learning and keep upskilling no matter what age you're at, no matter
Absolutely.
where you are on your business journey. And also sometimes going back to basics, just like, you keep going back to basics with that plie, no matter what
Mhm.
age you are, from when you're 3 to when you're the principal dancer, you go back to basics and really check that plie. As a business owner, sometimes we have to go back to basics,
Yeah,
start from the
absolutely.
basics, and then keep, expanding our knowledge and learning and seeking out new mentors, new people, asking questions, because that's how we keep growing as humans, as business owners, as people, like all the things, right?
Well, that's why I like talking to you because I always ask you from the side that I don't know. I didn't know, I knew what it was like to be a student in a school, but
Mm,
only since I've done this amazing app have I really spent time with the schools and the owners and seen what they
yeah.
have to do behind the scenes. I just walked into those classes and thought, oh, this is a cool school. The class is scheduled up there and it's easy. But now that I've, really understood it, it's absolutely not. And it's incredible what like a school owner has to do. It's just the
Mm.
same as what it is for flow dance wear. So, people think it's easy and it's nothing ever is easy. So
Absolutely
yeah,
not.
absolutely not.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
big
So talking
business.
about, oh, sorry, you go. I
No,
interrupted you there,
it's
my
big
love.
business. They're all big businesses, even the
Yeah.
smallest ones, the biggest. It doesn't matter how big you are, because even Flow Dancewear is a small business compared to other businesses. But you still have to do all the same work.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
impressive, right? You mentioned us then On Point. On Point is your new incredible baby. It's your new business baby, and it's an awesome app. Tell me
Mhm.
a little bit about what inspired you to do this. To launch a tech company, a world that you've never been in, and it's
Absolutely.
so different to what you've done before. So tell me, what inspired On Point?
Okay, so obviously I've teamed up with a big tech company. It's incredible and has built multiple, active brands and tech apps that match my, vision and designers. But
Yeah.
the whole reason for it was, where does my child go to dance? If I was asked
Yeah.
what was the most frequently asked question to me, all the way from when I retired, even before I retired, and then after retirement, is where should my child go to dance? What is the kind of dance that my child should do? But
Mm,
really the number one was where. And then I was like, I can only specifically tell them that ones that I know from the areas that I was in, but how do I tell them in Brisbane? How do I tell them in Queensland? How do I tell them in Canberra? There isn't. So I guess that's the beginning of it. And that was me,
hmm
discussing it, trying to figure out like how hard it is to look up a school. And it's really, really hard to find. It has the school's address, but it doesn't show all these incredible things that the schools can do. for the student and what their ethos is, until you get past and into their websites. And, I really felt that that was like a shame. And the drop off rate, for parents not being able to find the right class, meaning that they might not get to dance because it might be easier for them to do a different sport instead. But the child's missed out on it only because it's really, really hard to find. So that was sort of the beginning
Yep.
of On Point. How do we make a dance school directory that works for the school, and then the booking system came after that.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So, I love that it's just inspired by a question that you used to get asked a lot. And I'm sure as a mum, that's something you probably were always asked at the school gates by so many parents, I'm sure, where people would meet
Yeah,
you and hear what you did and go, oh, I've been thinking about dance classes for my daughter. Where should I dance?
yeah,
That's got to be such a
absolutely.
huge question.
Yes, and then also what kind of dance. So, like when we get into it, also what kind of dance. So, there's things that we've built into the app's filter of what kind of dance that they are into. So, if they're picking ballet or jazz or hip hop, or we've got every sector in there because I don't want to pigeonhole any child into the one way. And so on
Yes.
our On Point, you can pick a different genre of dance, every type. We've tried to include almost every
Mm.
type of dance there is. But yeah, because like I said, there's not many that just want to become a ballerina, or like yourself that know they want to run a studio. There's so many that don't know. And so trying to make it
Yes.
easier for them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, that's the parents' perspective. Tell me, for all of our studio owners that are listening, why should they be listing on Point? What does it do for them? How does it help them run their business? Because I know that was a big thing for you to give back to the studio owners, the teachers, to make their life a bit easier, right?
Yeah, it's perfect. Actually, that question was answered the minute that I went to talk with a dance school. So I thought the
Yep.
directory would help them and I would support them by giving them students. But then, how are they going to be supported if everyone's calling their schools and they don't have some way of capturing all of that? And then
Mm-hmm.
being able to, they don't want to be answering the phones 24 hours a day. And the amount of admin that they said they had to do was so huge that I had
Yes.
not expected. So we did start working with schools on a booking system that would integrate with the directory, and it just did not make sense for them to have two different booking systems. So that was one part of it. The second component, I guess, the directory part is that we'll be sending dances to you every time there is, like, find my best dance school, find the best class by me. We've got such a big engine and marketing machine on that side that when they do that, it will direct them to the right school. And that kind of marketing they don't have to do themselves. Of course, they still can do some marketing. They have their beautiful websites. All of the things that they've already created are on the profile. So the number one thing is that we'd help them the most with marketing and integrating the booking system so it's seamless for them, so they can spend more time with the
Amazing.
students.
Yeah, amazing. And that's the thing, right? Like everyone becomes a studio owner because they love teaching dance, not because they know how to be a great
Yes.
marketer, not because they want to spend heaps of time doing admin. It's never
No.
about that, right? It's always about the kids and
Yeah,
about the dancing. So anything you can
absolutely.
do to support the studio owners with that is incredible.
And then also now we've also got incredible people that are on the app. They have been there from the beginning and now they're obviously still on, and we can use their platforms as well, like Lee Swinson, who was incredible for me and in my business. And then you've got Emma Watkins, and she's going out to schools and helping them grow as a part of On Point. She's helping them,
Yes.
grow as businesses. We're doing events with us and them included. So trying to do things that will help grow their businesses that they wouldn't have to organize themselves, that will come through On Point with all of us with the
Yes.
same mind, all of us wanting to have this place for everyone to come to. And it's a development. So now we've done this complete evolution of putting every single school in Australia on there. I did want to talk to you a little bit about that. um, and that's exciting and it's new, and that will be coming. It's like already starting now, listed, so that you can like be found, and obviously you can claim your school and go live with us. That's in the
Amazing.
works right now, and yeah, we're pretty excited about that. Also, we just don't want to
It's
we don't want
incredible.
to be that person having to annoy them as well, calling them and saying, we want them to feel like they're included in everything that we do, and make sure that the customers will be able to find them, their beautiful studios.
Yes. I love that. And I love so much, the talking that what you were speaking about the marketing as well. And, you've obviously got some incredible names on board with you. Those ambassadors that you spoke about, Lee and Emma, and of course yourself as well. Like, what an incredible team to really drive Australian dance, and inspire a new generation of dancers. Like, that's just absolutely incredible, right? You're so lucky to have those
Oh,
incredible people on board.
thank you so much. Well, it was actually not a hard thing to do because Lee has exactly the same mission as me. You know that Lee and Mary have grown Australian dance in ways that we can't even measure, with the movie, with Queensland Ballet, with their
Yes.
books, the way they do their talks, all those sort of things. So the minute that I did tell Lee about my idea, he was on board straight away, obviously, and very, very excited and
Amazing.
very much part of it. And the tech team work with us, and so they've got the dancers' perspective and the school's perspective, and then they've got us wanting to make sure that we give the best assets to the schools. Well, how can we make that and drive their business from a marketing sense? And Emma's the same. Her beginnings was dance as well. She's going out to
Yes.
community. She's going to every single state. She's doing shows everywhere just to get little kids into dancing. And half of those little kinder girls are starting because of Emma. So we're really
Oh,
lucky to have
absolutely.
Emma on board. Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
That is so lovely. That's so amazing. Like, On Point came to Dance Teacher Expo last year. They launched with a huge bang. That was your big launch, and it was incredible.
it was
But you've
great.
made a lot of developments since then as well. I know you mentioned your new development that's just come out, that every single person automatically is listed. Every studio in Australia, I'm sorry, is listed on the app already. So what do people have
Yes.
to do if they're listening to this podcast? They own a studio, they want to get involved. What's their first step to go and do now with these new developments?
Okay, so absolutely, they either go to www.onpoint.com and the website, or they can just download OnPoint from the App Store, on Android or Apple, and it will take them straight to for their schools, and their school will be listed. And if their school's not listed, there's a note for them to write in that their school is not listed, and we'll put them up straight away. But we have tried our best to
Amazing.
make sure every single school's included. And they literally can just see their school's name and address, and they can just claim their school, and step by step they can just set up their profile, and they'll be live and ready to book as soon as they put their timetable and their payment details in there, so that we can make sure they get paid for the classes that we're going to send to them. So it's very simple. There's a how-to
Absolutely.
on
That's
the
amazing.
website as well for both the
Yep.
students and for the schools. Yes.
Awesome. And so it doesn't cost the studios anything. So they
Completely
absolutely have
free.
nothing to lose to jump on
Yes.
this. Is that right?
Absolutely, and we're doing it like we did for your expo. We're doing like a 3 months free for anyone that joins by the February 28th, so that they have time
Amazing.
to claim their school. They get time to see what we do for them, and all the marketing that comes towards them, and then they can decide to go on. And after that, it's only 5%. We'll only take 5% of whatever we bring to them. So really, it's like a no-brainer as far as marketing goes, but it's completely free for the first 3 months. And
That's
then, if
amazing.
they opt to stay in, then it would only take 5% of what we bring to the school. And we hope we bring a lot more than 5%. That's what our
Ah,
hope. Yeah.
that's amazing. And, I know you've got an incredible team working with you behind the scenes. And I know that's something we've spoken about before, that you've got an incredible marketing team, and something that most studios don't have, that you guys have really gone deep into, the Google search engines, the SEO, all the things that is above my pay grade, not things that I, know 100% about, but you've got incredible marketing companies that are doing those things and bringing so many people that your app will be what people click on first. That's the plan, right? That
First. Yeah,
whenever
that's
someone
the plan.
Googles dance classes, they'll go into On Point, and that will be how
Straight
they
away.
find
Like just like
studios.
you would on maps, you absolutely do it the same way. So basically, there's a search bar. You click in your suburb, and then you can all the classes that will come in that 15 to 20 kilometer radius will be there, and you can actually move the search bar across if you want to increase the kilometers, obviously. But yeah, that's how simply you want it to be.
Yep.
And as far as the marketing, obviously I learned a lot with Flow, and you have to have a huge engine of marketing teams. So the same team that we had for Flow, part of them are on the app as well, so they've had the experience of the last 10 to 15 years of how the schools and how the marketing should be and the right search words and all that. So that is like why we've used them for the app as well, plus an extra amount of people, obviously, for such a big business. And the biggest one is
Yes.
really just finding the school. Like, where do those questions, and then when they're answered, they come directly through OnPoint, and then they can find your school straight away. So we'll not be doing cross marketing. So I guess one of the fears from some of the schools are, will they cross market? They'll never cross market. They're marketing to the area, and it's saying to On Point. And then if you're in a school already, you're basically just handing your students our information and saying book the class through On Point, and it'll go straight to their profile and their payment and then their schedules and the timetables, just like you would for another booking system. And then if it's a new student, obviously they download it themselves and they're looking for a school, and obviously they're looking for a certain type. It just makes them more visible. I just know, for me, I knew what my child needed. If it was going to be like, a very small school because she's quite quiet, or she needs something that's a bit more bustly, that's going to have, other types of dance. So I think the child and the parent will be able to figure it out much faster because they'll have so much more choice, because the schools will be visible, on the app, rather than
Yeah.
trying to just search through maps and try and find it and Google and, not able to find it. That's my hope. Anyway, that's my wish
Amazing.
for it. Yeah.
Amazing. And I just think, the big thing for me is just taking some of that marketing off the studios. If you know that On Point is now going to be, as people start Googling things, that's going to be the first thing that comes up. Well, then, of course, you want to be listed on it. And there's no risk for the studio owners to be listed on it. So I think that's the big thing,
That's a
that
big
where
one.
there's no risk, it'd be silly not to jump on it, to spend the 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it takes to set up your profile and claim your listing. Like, that's what
It's completely
you should be
free.
doing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, like even businesses like yours and other businesses will have on there. So we want them to be able to find things on there also. So say they've booked their class, there's a bit of a marketplace, a small marketplace at the moment with some flow dancewear, but the marketplace will be in our next shift, and it will have all the dance, the dance wear as well. So then they can buy their clothes, So we're going to just keep evolving the app to increase the amount of things they can find. And the competitions should be going up there in about a week or two for every genre.
Amazing.
So you can look
Yeah.
up your competitions, which is exciting because obviously that was the thing that I look forward to all year, would be like where the
Yes.
competitions are. And I think that'd be great for the parents too, because it's also a cost thing to go to a competition. And if they don't know when the dates are and when it suits with their business or their work and their life, I think it's important that the parents can find out when the competitions are as well. So
Yes, most
that's going to be,
definitely.
that's part of our sort of evolution at the moment as well.
That's amazing. It sounds like you guys have so many incredible things in the works for On Point, with incredible people on board. Once again, if you are a studio owner listening to this, make sure you go jump on Point. It's ENPNT.com. Really check it out. Make sure you claim your studio as a listing so that you can make sure that you get the benefits of it, right? That's going to be
Yeah,
incredible.
straight away. We just want to show everyone what they can do, and we don't want to change the way that they do it. We actually just want to show them that how amazing you are, and what kind of things that you focus on and what incredible teachers you have in the background. Because that's the thing that, will draw a child or a parent to a school, and really want to show that across all schools in Australia. So it's a pretty exciting development, and it's already live with that now. So definitely go on and do that.
Amazing.
Yeah, and it's free for the
Amazing.
first 3
Well,
months for sure.
absolutely. Well, Felicia, it has been so lovely chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to have you back at Dance Teacher Expo in April. But thanks so much for the time today. It's been a
Yeah.
great chat.
Thank you so much, Amanda. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thanks again. We'll chat to you next week again on the podcast. Thanks, friends. We'll see you then.